Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. I'm sitting here with the rather wonderful Mr. Gorden Campbell. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having us over here.
Oh, of course,
This is
of course.
great. We got very excited because the first thing I did is I walked in and looked straight up and saw Tutu, Miles Davis Tutu.
Yeah.
What an amazing album. And I was reminiscing about seeing him on that tour.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to see him.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope, I never saw him live. But I watched enough video to, and I know some of the guys too. I know I knew Ricky Wellman, rest in peace, and Foley is one of my boys, and Foley was on there too.
Ooh, Foley is such an amazing player.
He's so incredible.
That was one of the things, because I remember when we were talking about how Miles would turn his back to the stage, to the audience, and then just play and then pick up these huge cars. And I just remember when he picked it out, he just said, Foley.
Man, I hate that I missed him. And I was in D.C. at the time when he passed away in 91. I was at Howard University. He used to come to D.C. all the time. And I just never got a chance to see him when I was there.
Yep.
I saw everybody else from Winton, Elvin, people at Blues Alley. I mean, everybody, McCoy Tyner to Stevie Wonder, Chick and Electric Band. I've seen everybody in D.C.
You've seen a couple there. I still haven't seen Stevie live, which is insane.
Oh, really? Oh,
insane. Because
it's magical.
I talk about Songs in the Key of Life like every other day.
Really?
Being one of the greatest albums ever, which it is, of course.
It's magical.
And yeah, I'm embarrassed to say that. I almost want to edit it out, but we're going to keep it in because it's the truth.
He's still the guy. He's still the man.
Still the guy.
Yeah, and I've been blessed to be around him and be in the studio with him a number of times, so it's been pretty cool.
Have you recorded with him?
I recorded one thing with him and it never came out.
But still.
But he records a lot. I was surprised that he even called. They was like, hey, see if you can get Gorden to come. Sure. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So,
that's amazing.
And I'm friends with his family too.
You played with Earth, Wind and Fire?
Yep.
I mean...
Yep. It's been a few people.
How'd you get that gig?
Well, I got it. And I tell people this all the time. Don't take playing around town local gigs for granted. Most of the big gigs that I've had from Earth, Wind, George Duke, even Jessica Simpson, when she was huge, somebody saw me playing in a club in this area in L.A. somewhere. But I got Earth, Wind. Robert Brookins, who was also in the band at that point, was best friends with Philip Bailey. He would come sit in with us every week. It was this band we had called Clueless. Cornelius Mims, Don Wyatt on keys, Ricky Rouse, and I'm the young guy on drums. But Robert would come every week, and Philip Bailey would do his solo tour every year in Japan. The drummer, Derek Organ, left. I don't know why, but they was like, Philip needs a drummer. So I started playing with Philip first, but it's because Robert Brookins would sit in, and he was like, yo, this guy that plays at the club down here, you got to come see him. So I got on, I played with Philip maybe 2 or 3 years. We would go to Japan for like a month or so. And from there, they just called and said, can you do Earth, Wind, and Fire?
That's incredible. I always tell people work begets work. If you're working and doing stuff, you'll get more work.
Even on $100 gigs.
Even on $100.
That's how, people saw me and was like, can you do this? Yep. And that's there amazing. It is.
And 3 years, played with them for 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. From 99 to 2001.
Yeah.
It was great times. We toured a lot. And I was telling you earlier, the one thing a lot of people know me from is A&E Live by Request, Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it was one of my first shows with them. And it's a DVD and it's on YouTube and everything. So a lot of people tell me that that's how they saw me first, basically. Amazing.
And now here you are, you got your own studio.
Yeah.
Are you doing a ton of people sending you stuff to overdub and play drums on?
Yes. Yeah. I'm doing everything, smooth jazz. I've been doing the TV show, The Masked Singer.
Oh, well. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I've been doing that. We just finished a week or two ago. They have different production teams, and then they source out different musicians. And even before the pandemic, they would just send it to me, and I would cut it here by myself. So all throughout the pandemic, I was by myself. I didn't have to be around anybody. So it just worked.
That's amazing.
So I think I've done 4 seasons of The Masked Singer. I do a lot of smooth jazz. Just everything. I did something for Ricky Minor 2 days ago for the Emmys.
Wow.
Just random. And it's just because, and I tell people this too, a lot of my drummer friends don't have studios. Now they're kind of getting them, but for the past few years, I've always had a room. So I get some gigs just because I already have a studio. Not that I play better than the other guys, but I'm set up.
You're being modest, but I appreciate the modesty.
I try to,
Humility's a good thing. Look, I've already was thinking, we could do more stuff together because I'm sitting here thinking, you've got a room ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Just got my new Neve over there, my Neve AMS.
Yeah, when'd
it's
you get
amazing.
that?
It's 1073. I just got it 2 weeks ago.
Congrats.
I've been going through different mic pre's and stuff, and I'm still building. As I get more money, I want to get some more, some APIs and some more Neve stuff, some of the original Neve stuff.
You got some choice stuff. You've got the ISA 1 over there, Focusrite.
Yep.
Yep. And what do you use that on?
My snare my snare top is going through there right now.
Fantastic.
Pretty much everything else through the Neve. I have a Presonus down there, a stereo for my overheads.
Yeah.
And I have a 6176 that I sometimes run my kick through, Universal Audio, run my kick through that. Or if I have a bass player, I'll put the bass in there. So
what's that octane down the bottom?
That's actually an M Audio. That was my first mic pre.
Wow.
When I was set up in my house, I had a studio set up in my house. And all I had was just 8 channels.
If it works.
Yeah, and the guy that was there, I can't think of his name now, but he was like, yeah, this is what Vinny uses at his house. So I was like, so.
Yeah.
And I just needed something, and I met him at NAMM show, and he sent it to me, and that's where I started. So I don't even really use that anymore. It's just kind of there.
Now, speakers, are those are LP8s, the Cali LP8s?
LP8s, yep.
Nice.
Nate Baglios set me up with those.
We love Nathan. He's a great guy.
Yeah, they sound good. I always wanted to get some Focals, the Twin Sixes.
Sure.
And then before I got a chance to get them, I met Nate, and I heard these, and I was like, they sound great. I know what they sound like. They sound good in my room. I'm not a mixer. I usually send my stuff, but when I'm mixing just to send out for somebody, they're really true. Like whatever I do, when I take it to the car and listen, it's pretty stable. It's pretty even.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you've got it dialed in. You've been tracking drums here for a few years now?
I got here 2014.
So, 8 years.
Yep. Yeah.
That's great.
I had a friend of mine, Eric Zobler, who was George Duke's engineer for like 40-something years.
Amazing.
He recorded and mixed all of George's stuff.
Amazing.
I toured with George for like 10 years.
Even more amazing.
So when I got my room, I was like, Eric, can you come through?
Sure.
And I have a video of me sitting in there, get, and my daughter's sitting on the couch. She's little, and he's sitting here dialing it in. And it's not a lot. It's just some fab filter, compressor, EQ.
Yep.
And people love the way my drum sound. It's funny, because I was telling you, I'm not super anal about the mics and all that. I'm not like measuring, making sure it's even from the over. And I understand that. When I do big sessions, the engineers or the assistants do that. But here, I just kind of put the mics up where he left them. And they just sound good. So I'm just not touching them. I haven't changed the heads on my drums since then.
Right.
And mostly what I change is I'll change the snare out for different songs, or use a big fat snare, which changes the tone. But the toms and stuff have pretty much been the same.
My friend Lenise told me that on Steely Dan Records she worked in, that they let Bernard Purdy move the overheads where it sounded best to him.
Really?
Yeah, he's wearing the headphones.
And Steely Dan, they were anal.
Yeah.
And he was Bernard. He was Purdy.
Yeah, but it's all about the balance. I mean, it's the way you play affects things a lot more than the microphone's 3/4 of a millimeter to the wrong side.
Exactly. And I learned that. And I used to play really hard. Like I would play it like if I'm on tour in an arena. Yeah. And I really learned doing more recording, I don't have to play as hard. And the tones actually sound better when I'm not playing super hard. But I just found the sweet spot where I'm playing, I'm not even really breaking a sweat, and I'm doing 5 or 6 takes for people, or 3 or 4, whatever. But it just works.
What other kind of gear? What's that there? You got a Mackie Big Knob?
Yes. And I'll tell you, I just got this desk and everything like last Monday, a week from
now. So
just
setting everything up.
I'm still setting it up. I haven't had my guy, Andrew, come wire it. He does all the wiring, and he's the genius. He's like, yeah, if you do it like this, then you can do that. So it's still not totally set up. So I just bought the big knob. I like it. I just got it on eBay.
Yep.
I was going to get something else, but then we're in a pandemic, so it's like budget. I got to make sure I'm still paying my mortgage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So for now, this is cool. And I don't know if I should say this. And I was looking at the drummer. The drummer is nice too. I just checked that out.
Drummer, great company.
Yeah. But I got the big knob. For now, it sounds great. It does what I needed to do. And I've had a mixer all of this time. So I've never had to use a monitor controller, because I had a mixer.
You had the O2R, didn't you?
Yeah, I had O2R for years. Like when I got it, it was probably 10 or 15 grand still.
Wow.
Now it's probably, $200 or so. It sound great, but I had the ADAT cards, and so everything was still going through there. So when I got rid of it, I was like, I don't have a talkback. I don't have a main. So that's when I said, all right, I just need to get something for now that I can have a talkback if somebody's recording, just a main knob, monitor, switcher, and all that kind of stuff. So that's where it came out of. So yeah, it's working, and I'm still work in progress. I got this desk. It's so long because I'm getting another slate, Raven, so I can have 2 slates next to each other. I'll get rid of this pretty soon.
Right.
So it's touchscreen, and so I'm kind of old school. So I'm like faders. Even when the MPC, I was like, I didn't want to switch. So now I'm like making myself like, all right, it's going to be all in the box at this point. Maybe I'll get some summing or something like that. But so it's taking a minute. I got to get adjusted. But
to me, when you're recording drums, you've got 8 Neve pre's, you've got a couple of UAs, you've got the PreSonus, you've got the Focusrite. Many of us have made records with gear a lot less than that. That's a nice setup.
Thank you. It's getting the job done, but of course I'm a studio geek, so I'm like looking at your spot. Even when I was watching Sign, I was like, duh, it's so much stuff I gotta buy, but I gotta be economically, I gotta be right. So I buy piece by piece. The more sessions I do, then I'll buy, gear.
I think we only use, I'm looking at Eric, I think we only use like 9 or 10 channels on the Kodak for drums anyway, don't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really nice old console that has like really, kind of some girth to it. It's like everything's really got really fat and warm.
That's why I like Neve.
Yeah.
Neve has got that, it's beefy.
I think your setup's fantastic.
Thank you.
But again, it comes down to the player anyway.
Thank you. And people like it. It's so funny. Even before I got that, a couple weeks ago, I was still using my M Audios. I had 4 Neve channels from a friend of mine, and he needed them back. They were actually from a console. And he had them boxed up by Boutique Audio. They were nice, 4 channels, and I ran my toms through them. But I put my M Audios and they're clean, and people were like, man, I love the way your drums sound. Right. And I'm laughing in my head because I know it's like, to me, it's low budget. It ain't where I really want to be. Wow. But producers that send me the stuff like, man, your drums sound great. So now with the Neve, they sound even better.
I honestly think that drums are the biggest difference from player to player.
Yes.
You put like a really heavy guitar tone on, and you strum it. Yes, of course there's going to be a difference between players, but the difference is like this.
Right.
Compared with drums, you sit me behind a drum kit, you don't want to hear it.
It's touch. It's about touch. And that's why I said even realizing that I don't have to play so hard. Like I don't have to smack. Live, if I get excited, and I play at church still too, sometimes I'll start playing hard. But as I got older, I realized I don't have to hit so hard. The tone is actually better when I don't play super hard. It sounds better. The resonation. I like toms that ring, which sucks for the studio because they ring like even when I hit the kick. But when I hit it, I like the tone.
Tools to pull down the ring.
Yes, of course. Especially, I'm a Yamaha guy. I got to give the Yamaha the plug. The Phoenix kit, those toms ring a lot. Like if I hit the kick, my 10-inch is like, I don't like moon gel and all that stuff on my toms, but they ring so much, I have to gel them up just so they're not ringing so much.
I grew up on the Yamaha drums.
Did you?
Yeah, it wasn't until I got to America that, Ludwig were obviously what we always wanted.
The 60s Ludwigs.
Yeah, and I do. We have a 60s, like Ringo-sized kit.
Really?
But growing up in the UK, my best friend Patch, I was telling you about before, he had, was it a 9000, or was that the name of it? It was like a touring studio kit. I just remember that was what I aspired to. I thought that was the kit, the Yamaha kit.
Yes.
And they were great. Really, really great sounding drums.
So in high school, this is like late 80s, 88, 89. I was 11th, 12th grade. My cousin got me the Dave Weckl instructional videotape, and he was playing a Yamaha recording custom.
Right.
From that day on, I was like, I got to have a recording custom, period. Nice. So the first tour I got was 1993. I was in college, and they came to L.A. We rehearsed in Burbank. They took me to Pro Drums to get a kit, and I was like, recording custom. And they were like, we have to order it. It's going to probably take a week. But we were starting rehearsal the next day.
Oh.
So they had a premiere there, and it looked like the recording custom, and the toms sounded like it was a premiere. I can't even think of the name of it now. So that's the kit I used on my first tour.
Wow. You still have it?
I have some of the toms. I don't have the whole kit. That's a whole nother story.
So
but yes.
Keith Moon.
Yes.
Kit, yeah.
Listen. And the guy, premiere is in London. So the main guy I would talk to was in London.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was my first kit. But I wanted a Yamaha recording custom, and then I moved to Pearl for a couple years. And then Joe Testa, my friend, was A&R at Yamaha. And he was like, bro, whenever you're ready. And when the time came, I moved to Yamaha.
Great. Congrats.
Yeah. Now I have
what about
all
cymbals? Zildjian?
All day since I've been out. Well, since high school, of course. And actually since elementary school, all the cymbals have been Zildjian. I mean, marching band, orchestra, everything always had the Zildjian engraved. So for me,
That was what simple.
Yes. And then when I start touring, I met the guys at Zildjian, and I've been with them 25 years now.
I think I read, people can Wikipedia this, I believe Zildjian is the oldest family-owned company in the world.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. At least in the United States, probably the world.
Definitely the United States.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. And to be cool with them, like with Craigie Zildjian and the family, is something I never thought of, because I'm looking at the pictures of them with like Philly Joe Jones and Elvin and Max and Buddy Rich. And
it's warm, fuzzy feeling.
Oh, that's warm, fuzzy. Especially when you go to the factory in Boston. It's like they have your name, Zildjian family welcomes in your name. And
beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So tell us a little bit about the kit and the setup. First of all, it's the Yamaha Recording Custom, is that correct?
This is not recording. This is a Yamaha Phoenix.
Oh, see? What do I know?
They call it PHX, but it's Yamaha Phoenix. It's the top of the line Yamaha.
Very nice.
My favorite kit in the world. I can tune it up high if I'm playing like a straight ahead traditional. Yep. I can tune it down low if I'm doing fusion or some gospel. I usually keep it middle of the road. But I love this kit. It's multiple plies of different types of woods and all that stuff. I'm not going to go that deep, but it sounds good.
When you're doing shows and stuff, do you have another kit just kind of set up that you can just take away?
Yeah, I got multiple kits from Yamaha. I have a Oak Custom, their first Oak Custom. The newest kit that I use out most of the time is a Maple Hybrid, or if I have a session at another studio, I'll have that carted over. Maple Hybrid Yamaha. Right. This is the top of the line, and I just wanted it here. And then I have, what else? I have a Birch kit too, a Yamaha Birch, an older Birch Custom.
Beautiful.
So I have 4 or 5 kits that I can,
go between them.
Yes. Yeah. And most of the time, like I was telling you, on this kit, most of the sessions I do, I can get away, because these toms, I can just tune them. They work musically with anything. I'll switch my snares out.
I was about to say, what's that snare that's on there at the moment?
And this is a Yamaha recording. They have a series of recordings line. This is the aluminum. They have
it does look like an Acurite on steroids.
Yes. To me, when I first heard it at NAMM, it reminded me of a Black Beauty, that deep, so, but it's the same thing. You can tune it high or low and it just cracks, or if you want the beef, you can pretty much do anything with it. So this is aluminum, 14 by 6.5. For
the English and the UK, that's aluminium.
No. Right. That's how they say it, really?
Yeah, we do.
That's crazy.
That's British.
Right. Yes. I always trip off of my friend when we say Adidas.
Yeah.
Adidas.
Adidas, yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, sidebar. But yeah, this is the aluminum. I have a closet there full of snares. I got everything: steel, metal, wood, maple hybrid, and a couple companies I have like Orange County snares, just different things. So this is one that, right now, this is what works on a whole bunch of different things. And from day to day, I'll do, like one day, I did a couple cues for the Emmys the other day, and then I'm doing smooth jazz, and then I'm doing gospel. This kind of works on everything. So I don't find myself changing the snare too much. I'll just tune it high or low. Just different songs. I just sometimes tune it down really low. I tune it up. And I got these cool things now called Big Fat Snare Drum. They make your drum sound deeper. So I'm plugging them because they're super dope. So this one has tambourine jingles on it. So you can kind of hear this. Or I put this on. It like changes the tone immediately.
I love that.
So I have another one that's in my car without the jingles. And it just makes this, so I don't have to have 2 snares or switch snares a lot. I can just. So it's kind of cool. And then
so good.
I just saw these. I'm sorry, this is not necessarily a plug for them. I got one for each drum. It's from the same company, but it just deadens your drum. Yeah, I got one in every size. It makes it literally sound like a 70s kit with no bottom head on the toms. But this is. So when I want that super,
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't have to change the snare as much. So I do, depending if it's super drastic, I'll change the snare out. But
well, let's have a quick talk. We can go through some more drums, the actual drums in a second. But what I want to know is, a lot of engineers watching. What is your what's your mic setup? Is that a 57 on the top?
Yep, Beta 57A on the bottom.
Yeah.
Snare. And I've been through a couple different things. I actually was using this for a while, the SM7.
Yeah.
on my top snare. I did a tour with Jessica Simpson 2009. We opened for Rascal Flatts. She did a country album.
Okay.
And so we were opening act for Rascal Flatts. And
Yeah.
that was probably the best live sound I've ever seen. And I was like, dude, what is on your snare drum? And he was like, I got an SM7 without the crazy. The only problem in here, it picks up everything. The snare sounded amazing with the SM7, but it just, of course, it's going to pick up the stuff a little bit, but that was like, so I went back to the 57 on there.
What's your hat?
This is a Shure, a 81. And then I have my toms are KSM. My two racks are KSM 24s.
Yeah.
I have them for my other tom. I just haven't put them on. And this is a Lewitt, actually. I did this because I thought my mics were going out, and I figured out it was the mic pre. So I took them off, and I put this on and never changed back. But I have two more brand new ones, just like this KSM 24s. This is a Lewitt 640.
Yeah, we love those.
On my floor. Great. And then I have KSM 32s for my overheads.
Those are great.
Yeah, I'm really super simple, super
yep.
Not anal. And I could probably go there, but for whatever reason, just sounds decent.
Is that an Audix D6?
Audix D6.
Yeah.
Same thing. I had a Beta 52 on here.
Yeah.
And I thought it was something wrong with the microphone. It ended up being that mic pre that I was using.
Right.
That will remain nameless. It kind of went out.
Right.
So I bought a new mic and it sounded better. But now I realize there's probably nothing wrong with my Beta. Because it's only been in my studio. It hasn't been anywhere. I don't take them out. And then there's a 91 in there too. It's hard to see a SM91.
Oh, so it's laying down.
Yeah, it's the flat one. Yeah, and I used to have a sub kick, but I didn't really use it that much. And even if I recorded it and sent it to the producers, they always didn't use the sub kick because it's just it wasn't like super.
And there's so many plugins now where you can just add a little bit
exactly.
of sub. Yeah.
So I just took it home. I just brought it. I was like, I like it because even when I was using it live, the last tour I did was American Idol 2013 where I had it. And the front house guy was like, I'm not really using it. I just left it on because it looks cool.
How many American Idol tours did you do?
I did 3. I did 2010, 2012, 2013.
Who was winning those ones? 2010. Who was
Lee DeWise, and then Philip Phillips won
Fun Phillips, I remember him.
2013. I ended up being his musical director. We actually toured with, we did a few tours. The last tour, and this is the last tour I did before I quit touring for a while, was John Mayer. We opened for John Mayer.
Nice.
So I got to hang with Aaron Sterling and all those guys.
With Steve Jordan?
Yeah. Oh, no, Steve wasn't there. So at first I was disappointed, like, Steve ain't playing, but I met Aaron and heard Aaron. I was like, okay, now we're good. Like, he's super solid. And he plays on a lot of John's records, too. So Aaron's dope. But so super simple setup. For whatever reason, it just works in this room. I had Eric Zobler come and dial the toms in and stuff. And my friend Andrew came, wired it. He made the box, where everything's plugged into.
And no room mics?
No. And when Eric came, I asked him, should I get some room mics? And he was like, well, your room is not really big enough where it would make a difference.
That's why God invented reverb.
Yeah. And it sounds good for whatever reason. And I've cut everything in here from strings to choirs. Like I've had at least 12 people singing at once.
That's amazing.
I set up 3-4 mics, pre-pandemic, of course. I haven't changed these heads since I moved in here. Actually, these are the heads I used on the American Idol tour, 2013. Wow. They haven't broken and they just sound good. So, and I'm lazy, so I'll change them at one point. But they sound good, so. They kind of get
Gorgeous.
middle of the road,
Yeah.
kind of sound good on everything. And every once in a while, I have this big old school beater that I'll put on there, and it gives it like a woof woof. So I'll put that beater on sometimes.
That's amazing.
But yeah,
Those toms just cut.
thank you. And it's Phoenix. It's the Phoenix.
Yeah.
I have a lot of drummer friends, and they all play everything from DW, Gretsch, Sonar. And I'm always like, all right, when you want some real drums, just come over here. That's like our ongoing joke. And everybody has been over here recording, from like Harvey Mason, Michael White, just for different reasons. Somebody who they were using was like, can we come cut at your place? And I'm like, yeah. So, and everybody that plays them, Ronald Bruner, they're all like, bro, these drums sound good. Chris Coleman, Stanley Randolph, those are all my friends.
Incredible.
Chris Johnson, yeah, they're like, man, these drums sound good.
Yeah,
I don't tune them. I don't do anything. I'm lazy. But they just, until they break, it's like, I guess I'm going to just leave these heads on.
So Gordon, tell us about your album.
So yes, this is my album. Bam, it's called Conversations. I toured for 20 years straight, from 1993 to 2013. Like every single year I was on tour, from Earth, Wind & Fire, George Duke, Jessica Simpson, Neo, Chris Brown, everything, American Idol, jazz, everything. And I just got tired of touring. And I was like, I need to do something else. I always produced, so I was always in and out doing different acts that I was working on. Somebody was like, you should do your own album. And I said no. So to make a long story short, my friends were like, you should do an album. And I was like, all right. Then it came out, well, what kind of album do I want to do? And I like every style of music, so I didn't really know what to do. So I thought about the conversations that I've had over the years with my mentors, different teachers I studied with, different artists that I work with. And I said, I'm going to call it Conversations, and I'm just going to make whatever I feel that day, I'm going to write that. So I would sit here, and a lot of the songs I started with, I would just record myself playing drums. And I'd come back and listen. If I found a groove that sounded like a song, I would build a whole song around that groove. So that's kind of where it started. So every song on the album is different. Some sound like Snarky Puppy. Some sound like George Duke. I have a song with Sheila E. and Paul Jackson Jr. on it. Wow. And that's more like Latin-y. It's in 6/4. It's a weird time signature, but it's funky. So I have all different types of stuff on there, all different types of artists. PJ Morton, BJ Chicago Kid, Sheila E., Paul Jackson Jr., Kamasi Washington, Terrace Martin, Alex Isley, Oscar Cartaya, my daughter singing one of the songs she wrote and sang. And then a lot of my friends that have just been around that we've been working together. So the album is made up of all of that. It's got gospel, not really gospel songs, but gospel feel. It's got jazz feel. It's got funk. It's got soul, R&B. It's got vocals. It's a little bit of everything.
And basically all recorded here?
Mostly recorded here. Some I did at NRG Studios around the corner. That's like my favorite live drum room in town.
And it's close.
And it's close. It's around the corner. And I've been in all of them.
Which room? The
Studio B.
So is that
the Moroccan-looking room.
Oh, the Moroccan.
When you walk in the door, you go straight back.
Yeah, I know.
That's like my room with the big Neve, the old Neve in there. Oh my God.
Great.
That's the best sounding drum room. And I've been in East West. I've been in United. The only studio that I think I haven't been in yet is Sunset Sound. I still have not been in there for nothing.
So let's go in there and record there.
Let's do it. It's a done deal. I've been to Sphere around the corner. I've been to everywhere. Oh, Henry, Paramount, American, everywhere. But that room, NRG, something about that room, the drums just, whew. So I just set my whole band up in there for a couple days, and we recorded 2 or 3 songs that's on the album.
Amazing.
And then the rest I did here. Yeah. And then I did strings on one song, live string section. That was in Chicago with the guy that did all the arrangements. So I went out there. Some of the vocalists cut their vocals at their place, but everything else was done here. And
then what about mixing?
Mixing, I'm not a mixer. I can do a basic mix, but I had Eric Zobler, who did all the George Duke stuff. I don't know if you can see that picture. That's me and George right there. He's one of my mentors.
Amazing.
And that was around the corner at this other studio on the corner of Burbank and Lankershim. I have an instructional drum DVD out. I did it in like 2010. So that's from that. Anyway, Eric Zobler was George's engineer for almost 40-something years. Record and mix all the records. So Eric mixed all of the jazz stuff. Then the more R&B funk stuff, Kevin Davis, KD, and he mixes right over here. It used to be called Pacifique. Remember Pacifique back in the day?
I do remember the name, yeah.
It's a private room now, but he has one of those rooms. So Kevin Davis is right there. he mixed the R&B funky stuff, and then Eric Zober mixed everything else.
I'm going to look forward to listening to it.
Hopefully you like it.
Yeah.
You guys go get it.
It's streaming and everything?
It's on every platform.
Every platform. There will be a link below. Lots of links below.
The best way to get it, to help me, is Bandcamp. It's on Bandcamp under Gorden. And Gordon's with an E, Gorden, Campbell. Because I get the most money back from Bandcamp, more so than Apple or Spotify or whatever.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm going to start selling merch and stuff on there too.
Great.
So look for us live. We have a show Friday at the Mint, and I'm talking to some booking agents that the one I spoke to, actually, they do Snarky and Ghost Snow, a couple other huge bands that are touring. So I'm trying to hit the road with my band. That's like my next goal.
Great. And it's the Gorden Campbell band?
Yeah, Gorden Campbell and Friends right now. I haven't come up with a name with the end Friends part. I need a name. Yeah. But right now it's Gorden Campbell and Friends because they're all like friends, family. We've been playing together for years.
Incredible.
And special guests and all that stuff.
Gorden, thanks ever so much for having us over.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
A lot of fun. So there will be links below. There'll be links to Bandcamp where you can buy the album, and also Spotify where you can stream it, Apple Music, all the other great things. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. So long. Farewell. La Wiedersehen. Au revoir. Adios.
And my Instagram is...
Your Instagram is what?
Gorden512. That's what I'm on most. Gorden 512. And people can tap in with me and they need me to play on something or whatever.
Excellent.
I'm open and I'm on there all day, unfortunately. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, man.